quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Tabletop Gold, The Roots of Ruin, episode 147. Prime number? Maybe.
Ooh.
Think about it. Let's look into it.
It's divisible by 9.
3.
Okay, not a prime number. Joining us today to ruin my dreams is David the Tin Man Chernicoff.
Happy to help. Good that time, Lars.
Our man Humphreys.
Good that time, y'all.
Robin Lange.
Happy every day, per something I saw on our Discord.
Happy every day per something you
Happy
saw on our Discord?
Yes, happy every day.
What are you talking about? What is that? What is happy every day?
So I wish I could
Happy
remember
every
who.
time.
Vulcan, someone posted something that they were working on, a mini set with their spouse, and there was like a little mini cake and around saying happy birthday. It said happy every day.
Oh, that's nice. That is
I liked
nice.
that.
Happy. Everybody should try to. I mean, it's a
Happy
high
every
bar,
day.
but if you can aim for it, it's nice.
Yeah.
To have a happy every day.
It's certainly good wishes.
Good wishes, bienvenue, good tidings, and hello to Zoe Chernicoff.
Hello. I want to say that 47 is divisible by neither 9 nor 3, but it is divisible by 23 if you add 1.
But
So is it a prime
So
number?
it sounds like it's prime.
No, wait, 47 is, but it's episode 147.
I just Googled 147. Is it prime? Google just responded with one word, no.
No.
No, it's not. It's divisible by 1,
Way to
3,
show your
7,
work,
21,
Google.
49, and okay. Yeah, Google knows. what's going on.
Well, okay.
Big
right.
numbers, big numbers.
Okay,
So
we're
let's
going to
make
get
it
in.
episode 47. Let's just have it be a time reset. We'll go back to 47 and
Okay.
we'll play it over.
Does that mean Augie's back?
I miss him.
I just don't like that guy for some
This
reason.
time Vadim's killing him.
Yep, this time Vadim's back and no holds are barred.
He's out for blood. You know what I'm out for right now before we get into our game? I'm out for some advice from you guys, if you wouldn't mind giving it to me. Would you please?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very happily.
And advice and also your thoughts. My son has started on he's still in like a toddler bed, and he has like a partial sort of crib thing that the like is bars going up around 3 sides of the 4 sides of the bed and then an opening, right? Do you get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's kind of like a canopy bed.
Cute.
Very cute.
Like
and
between
he
a
has,
jail and a canopy bed.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
It's the perfect hybrid between the two.
Yeah.
He started going to bed every night with a blanket draped over that thing, making a kind of bubble. Do you
Okay.
get what I'm saying? Like there's a blanket
Yeah.
extending like a tent. And it got me looking online, and I
Yeah.
discovered the world of bed tents.
Yes.
That's
Mhm.
pretty cool.
Yep.
Whoa.
These are tents that like slip under a mattress. You can get them in sizes twin, full, or queen. You can get an
Why
entire.
not king? Why not king?
Well, let me just do a search here on the
Yeah,
internet.
that's the real question.
King
Oh,
size
these are cool.
bed tent.
So
I think-
they're for anyone not like seeing the image, they've got some are rounded, some are square, some actually look kind of like a classic kind of triangular tent. But
They
most of them seem like kind of squarish.
they transcend
with
just
a zipper side.
just polygons. Like
Yeah.
these are available as various sort of fun, whimsical items, which I can tell you because when I was a child, I had one of these. It was in the shape of a car.
What?
Are
Right,
you
I was going to say, I
serious?
feel like they were around when we were younger because when I was in boarding school, I wanted one of these for my bed there because when you live in a very small room with another person as a teenager, life sucks. So I wanted a little bit of privacy, but that was not something I knew I could convince my parents to buy for me. And I think also it's technically a fire hazard, so my school wouldn't have allowed it.
Okay, so that's maybe an important part of the equation that I need to wrap my head around is how much of a fire hazard is this ultimately at the end of the day. But I was thinking about this, like, I think that if you're sharing a room with somebody, I think it would be really nice to have a little tent that you can zip yourself into.
Yeah.
So the question is, should I get one? And do you want to get one? Are we all going to get bed tents, everybody? Are we going to get bed tents together?
I think
No?
my husband would be totally into it, actually.
I'm actually surprised at how much I'm into these. Yeah, like totally.
Yeah, Armat, it's like a thing that you'd never conceived of, but maybe it would be nice to just put like a little opaque bubble around your bed like it's a little escape pod and jettison yourself off into slumberland at the end of every day.
So I have a lot of thoughts here. I'm curious to hear about David's childhood version of this because I don't think I realized he was a bed tent haver literally until now. And we've known each other a long time. So I want to go back to that. This one, our children have had various bed apparatuses, never quite something like this. I want an Oregon Trail themed one of these where it looks like a wooden wagon.
I mean,
Oh,
the one
hell
that
yeah.
that Lars
Right?
is showing right now looks like the top of a Conestoga wagon.
It
so
does.
Right, this one is like blue tent material, but
Yeah, we
you
just
could
gotta-
easily get to that.
just make it taupe. Gets paint some oxen on the side.
These images
Oh my gosh,
are
the
weird.
picture now.
Is that a
The
family
real
of
people.
3?
Look at how happy they are.
They're
We're
all
looking-
spooning.
But the man's head and his shoulders don't look like they actually attach correctly.
So what
Thanks,
we're
AI.
what we're looking at right now is a picture of a family of 3 all sleeping together in a bed tent, like spooning each other while being horribly photoshopped into this picture. It's really unconvincing. Zoe, we've got some more bed tent options here. I don't see
Okay.
any Oregon Trail.
Oh, there's like a cute one with bunting and stuff.
This guy? This
Yes,
carnival
that's
bed
so
tent?
cute.
It is
That's
cute.
like I feel
That's
like I've
cute.
seen those for like day beds and like playrooms.
David, what color was yours? We had one very similar to this for our daughter when she was like 3. What kind was your tent?
It was red. It was fairly boxy in shape, but the way it was designed, it looked sort of like a hatchback. Zoe, I'm really surprised this has never come up before.
It really, and I mean, when we first met and for many years thereafter, because David's parents lived in his childhood home until very recently when they relocated. Like, I've slept in your childhood twin bed.
Yeah,
The tent
that's
was
true.
just a thing of the past. Like, it's like I have experienced so much of
Yeah.
this.
God, I would have been so jealous of you as a kid.
Yeah, and not just because of this, obviously.
For many
there were other
reasons.
positives.
I hated my bed kind of. My mother insisted I had these like 2 twin beds in my room. My mom always said, for sleepovers. I never had a sleepover instead I just had a second twin bed that just was where I piled my laundry.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it was because she had hand painted them, and so she insisted that I had to have those 2 beds in my room.
Well, it sounds like
and I
it
always
comes
wanted
from
stuff
a,
like,
from
yes.
a nice place.
Yeah.
You could say that about any narcissist.
Okay. Very good. I'm going to report back if there is a second chapter of this tent bed story. I know everybody's on the edge of their seat trying to figure out like where's this storyline going.
Absolutely.
But you're going to have to wait. But you know what you don't have to wait for is for me to tell you about some nice reviews that somebody left. People leave reviews for our show on the podcast apps of their choice, such as this review left on Apple Podcasts by Sling Wizard. They say a number of really nice things. The subject line for this review is woof. I think in commentary about something that has become something of a catchphrase of Armat's from this show. People have noticed that Armat says woof a lot when bad things happen.
For those of you who are also trying to still tell the difference between Armat and David's voices,
Right.
that Armat's one who says woof, and
I am the one who woofs.
There's
The woofer.
a comment. They say a lot of nice things about the podcast. It's very generous. Thank you so much to Sling Lizard for leaving this review. But the final line of this review is, as a side note, Armat has the best non-sexual woof I've heard ever. So there's a caveat in the quality of this woof.
Or an invitation to prove
Yeah,
my
that
competence
you're a man of
across
many
woof
woofs.
Yeah,
domain.
that's
Yeah.
the first thing that came
That's
to
all I'm
mind.
gonna
Was
say,
like, you should
you know?
hear his sexual woof.
Yeah.
That, folks, you're going to
What
want to
is it?
join
You know,
the Patreon to get
that's
because that is
your-
absolutely paywalled.
To hear
Really
Armand's
try to-
sexual
Brilliant.
woof.
I'm really trying to like
That could be a $9.99
audio
drop.
Yeah.
visually
for sure.
get that.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe like a ringtone package.
a ringtone
Mhm.
package of sexual woofs. Let's go.
It's-
Let's do
it's
this.
15 sexual woofs from Armat and my Bow Chicka Wow Wow drop.
That one.
I mean,
Yeah, that's actually $12.99 if you want the whole package. though.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
check it out. But also, most importantly, thank you to Sling Lizard for that review. Now let's get into it.
Thank
Let's
you.
play our game. Just around a week ago, you uncovered a map deep underground in the Abomination vaults portraying Belcora Haravex's plan to destroy the city of Absalom. This map depicted in heart-stopping detail the ways in which an army of devils would march upon Absalom, burn it to the ground, and then carry on to wipe out all life across the remaining settlements on the Isle of Kortos. You posted facsimiles of this map all over the town of Otari to raise the alarm, and accordingly, Mayor Osif Menhemez called in a favor from Winzel Starborn, acting Primarch of Absalom, to provide assistance in clearing out the remaining threat from the dungeons below Gauntlet. And now, in response, you've received word from Mark, your friend at the Otari Town Guard, that representatives from the Star Watch, Absalom's citywide police force, have arrived. So Mark has managed to gather all of you, and you're on your way to the Rowdy Rockfish for a town address by these super cops from Absalom. I want to get a sense of, just before we jump into it, what is the reaction that the four of you have to this news? David, how does Mag feel about this?
I suppose proud. This would be a sign that the world was taking Mag seriously in a way that is typically really elusive for her. Having this incredible response to something she was just what she's always been seeking in speaking out about these things and just never gotten any traction with any of it.
Yeah.
Would have to feed her ego, whether that's, a good thing or not.
That totally makes sense to me. Mag is in a completely different place socially now than she has been her entire life. Like, people of this town that have mocked Mag her entire life are now looking towards you for wisdom, action, to be saved by you, by Mag.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have anything else they want to shout out as you are heading with Mark towards this bar?
I imagine Trill's just intrigued, to be honest. She didn't have any interaction with them in her time in Absalom. And so she doesn't really have much of an opinion. And so she's kind of curious as to what it is they can actually do here and why on earth Istin is such a fanboy.
yeah, he's probably poking Trill and being like, do you think some of them who've been here through the Radiant Festival are going to be there? Do you think they saw some of it? I mean, that would be brilliant. I would love to know. I mean, just starting by clearing out the Precipice Quarter, Like, what was that like? There was crazy stuff going on there. I mean, and that hotel and... Oh, man.
I mean, yeah, but, cops don't stop crimes.
And Ao is trailing about 15 feet behind everyone with DM Zimkork following her with a notepad. And she's like, I think this would actually be a high market spot for us to get a standout. I think we'd get a lot of business here. She's just in on MLM World. But she's following along. She loves Mark.
Well, speaking of Mark, just as you're about to arrive at the Rowdy Rockfish, has all of the rewards for saving Doriana Menhemez that you all requested. So Mark looks over towards you and he said, Mayor Menhem has asked me to give these to you and to say thank you. He's sorry that he's not able to give them to you himself right now, but he wanted you to have them. And he hands each of you a package with the items that you ordered from Absalom. First, he hands Trill a package with a pretty interesting item in it. What did Trill get?
Trill tears it open and goes, "Oh, my door knocker!" She waits for a response. No response. Okay, so I put this thing on a wall. I knock with it. It makes a door. Or if there's already a door, it unlocks that door. So yeah, I'm really excited to, I feel like this is going to be so helpful as we have to quickly move, because we have no idea what's coming up on this next level.
So that can turn a wall into a door, basically?
I believe so, right? It can essentially... Lars?
Yeah, there are some guardrails
listing
on it.
Obviously.
The door can penetrate up to 1 foot of material, so thick materials such as heavy stone walls, which can cause this effect to fail. A thin layer of metal in a wall, floor, or ceiling also causes the effect to fail. And so there are potentially places can be like guarded against an insistent door knocker, sorry. But but you can like really mess with some stuff. It's a great item. We can only
use it once a day.
Yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things that you would generally you'd pass right by as you're going through an items list in a book, and just you think door knocker, who needs that? But for some reason I paused and looked at it. It's like, this is actually really effing cool.
You made a great choice. Mark hands the next item over to Mag. David, what did Mag order from Absalom?
2 door knockers. Mag has ordered I think I'm pronouncing this right, an Aeon Stone?
Yeah, this is a thing that changed from first edition to second edition. They used to be Ioun stones, and now they're Aeon stones.
Oh.
But between the non-remaster Pathfinder second edition and the remaster second edition, this specific item also changed its name. So, yeah.
Good. So,
Bow chicka wow wow.
Bow chicka wow wow.
Thank you. This is a tourmaline sphere Aeon Stone.
It used to be a tourmaline sphere Aeon Stone.
Well, I thought Nethys was updated for all of this stuff. So
it was yesterday. Now it's called a delaying Aeon Stone. But if you want to call it a tourmaline sphere, I think that's probably a lot more exciting. So let's just do that.
Okay. What it does is so Aeon Stones are these magically imbued gemstones that are made to fit into a wayfinder. This particular one, it saves your life once. If you end up at your last dying value, it automatically engages and it knocks your dying condition down a level. Typically that would be dying 4. For Mag, it's dying 5 because she has toughness. So if she ever actually reaches dying 5, this thing will automatically activate and she'll be reduced back to dying 4, which was having done some research on the Wayfinder over the course of the adventure, the first thing she thought of when the mayor said he could send for something was a way to use the extra capacity of the Wayfinder that she's gotten so accustomed to wearing. And incidentally, I was excited about the tourmaline part because Zoe and I have tourmalines in our wedding bands.
Oh.
It's a cool little thing. So I'm going to stick with it being a tourmaline sphere.
Yeah, I agree.
Rather than a delaying doodad.
Yeah, it's just a participle now that's attached to it. It's
not into it.
What are we doing over here, guys? Come on.
Out of curiosity, why tourmaline?
Babe.
We liked the way they looked.
That's the one.
They're watermelon tourmaline, so they're like green to yellow
the
to
ones
pink.
you get up in Maine.
Yeah. We
that's so
didn't get
pretty.
them in Maine, but maybe the guy. Shout out to Aaron Duff at Igby and Diona. You can find him in Brooklyn.
Yes.
Aaron,
Thank
you
you,
did
Aaron.
it. You're crazy
Yeah.
for this one, Aaron.
He now mostly works in sapphires of similar sort of variegated colorways. But anyway, because the tourmalines, I
very
guess, are
intrigued.
brittle. I learned that last time I talked to him. They're too hard
Well,
to
yeah,
set.
they
crack.
save you from dying once, and then they break.
Right.
Yeah.
So now instead of working in tourmalines, he only works in delaying. That's his new
That makes
medium.
sense. David, there's another thing that this does, which it lets you cast heal as an innate spell once per day.
Yes. So Mag now, I guess, has the
Mag
ability
just became a spellcaster. Our little
Kinda.
girl's grown up.
I know.
Our big girl is growing up.
And I'm okay with it because I still don't have to contend with the spell list. I just get one spell that now I can. So if anybody else is ever really up against it, Mag can also restore 1d8 hit points by casting the spell
Nice.
once per day.
That's awesome.
So the Mark hands the next item over to Isthin. What did Isthin get?
He got Boots of Bounding, which I'm really excited about. It adds basically a +5 foot item bonus to his speed, and it lets him get +2 on athletics checks to jump and to high jump and long jump. And since he has quick jump, he now can basically be jumping all over the battlefield. I just like the idea of him just leaping everywhere and getting into trouble that way.
Love it. And Mark hands the last of these items over to Ao. What item did you get for rescuing Doriana?
So Ao is handed a carefully wrapped cloth package, which she opens, and she immediately undoes her own gold cloak, untying it and sort of just like throwing it over her shoulder. Gems and Cork, take this. I won't need it anymore. Give it to the bakers for a backdrop. And she pulls on a brand new cloak, which is a cloak of elven kind, which now she's no longer wearing a gold cloak, but a green cloak, which has a touch of gold trim. Can't give up that fun gold glow when your eyes are gold and you shoot gold out of your hands. But this allows her to cast Ghost Sound, which at some point I could cast. Can I still cast it? I don't cast it, but now I could again. Maybe I can cast it twice. I don't know. But more importantly, when I adjust the cloak's clasp, I get to... it's basically like a chameleon cloak. I get to like match the environment. I get better stealth. And once a day, it lets me gain the effects of invisibility. So I get to just fade into the background. And if I get boots, which I won't because she hates shoes, then I can do it twice a day.
So at this point, Mark is at the point where he's like, he's more or less gotten you all the way to the rowdy rockfish. And he points you towards Osif Menhamez, who is waiting outside the rowdy rockfish. You see that there is candlelight inside the rowdy rockfish. It seems as though there are people packed into the bar right now. And Osif meets you outside and he says, "Oh, good. There you are. Thank you to everyone for coming on such short notice. Thank you, Mark." And Mark gives a little bow and heads into the tavern. And Osif says, "I just want to give you a little bit of a heads up. I had a moment to speak with these Star Watch folks. They're professionals, and they're here to help. Since the events in Absalom last year, Winslow Starborn and Captain Asilia have been more vigilant about taking on threats, even when they're not coming from within Absalom limits. So they've got a team set up to deal exactly with situations like this one. So, lucky for us, right? When there's a problem buried underground that rises up, these folks sweep in and they take care of it. So it seems like we have a problem that matches what these people are meant to do, which is obviously very, very good. Do me a favor though. Please listen to what they say. I'm calling in a big favor to make this happen. So please let them do their jobs. I've received some stern wording that this is the only help that Absalom is able to spare. So if we scare them off, they're probably not going to send anyone else. And if they don't send anybody else, that's going to reflect very poorly upon my standing as mayor. So it's a personal favor, please. I'm going to be out of a job if this doesn't go right. So do you promise to, not do anything too weird.
I mean, we never intend to do anything weird.
While they're talking, Ao throws up the hood on her new cloak and goes up behind him invisible and just gooses him on the side. Just tickles him a little.
And he gives a little like ooh, like it's totally out of character, like a completely out of character sort of reaction, and he starts to blush and he says, "Okay, hopefully you've gotten that out of your system. Please, just go on in, please."
Yeah, I mean, we asked for these guys. We're not gonna. Why would we want to mess anything up?
Right. No, I was actually going to ask, is there opportunities for me to shadow one of them? Are there mentorship options? Where they mentor me?
Can he get an autograph is the main question.
Oh, autographs would be, amazing.
I'm not exactly sure. You're going to have to bring that up with them. And he looks pretty nervous. He's I think they're about to get started. Come on in. And so he ushers you into the Rowdy Rockfish. You've been here before. It's the closest thing we've got to a town hall around here. There's a beautiful mural of Eridan lifting the Isle of Kortos from the inner sea over to the eastern side of the bar. There are booths of nice plush seats over on the western side of the bar, and various residents that you know from around Otari and others that you are familiar with from seeing them around the street are gathered here expectantly, some of them afraid, some of them a little bit amused looking maybe, waiting for the big city cops to come on in. You are waved over to the bar by the bartender, whom you know as Lasda Venkervale. You recall that you rescued Lasda Venkervale. His impressively stout body was fueling the laser from Gauntlet itself that shot into the graveyard of Otari to raise the dead from there. And Lasda sort of motions you over. He's a big red bearded, he's got a big red beard. He's a dwarf. He's very stout and sturdy. And he says, gosh, guys, welcome. Drinks on the house, of course. And he pours a set of beers for the four of you. And he says, I was starting to feel like maybe I'd done something to make you mad, given that you never come around here. But I know you like those weird drinks that Magaloy makes, so... and I don't really know anything about that kind of thing. So I'm sure it's a drinks issue more than that you don't like me. So,
Oh, Lasda, we think you're great, and it's so nice to see you up and about, and behind the bar again. Everyone, I bet, is glad to see you behind the bar. Honestly,
there's no one gladder to see me behind the bar than me. I'll tell you that much. I'm, every day I get to come to work rather than, be tortured by an unholy void beam from the eldritch reaches of beyond this dimension. That's a good day.
That was really well said.
An impressive condensation there, yeah. Speaking of impressive condensation, look at this beer, eh?
By the time he's done talking, Istan actually throws back an empty cup because he looks down and all the drinks are empty because Ao is still invisible and she's drunk them all while he was talking.
My drink.
Oh, you've got a real thirsty appetite there, don't you? Don't you guys? Being a bunch of big heroes really works up the thirst, doesn't it? And he pours you a new set of drinks, and as he slides his to Mag, he settles up next to Mag for a second. He says, "Well, this is so exciting, isn't it? All these big city law enforcement types coming to help out, all on account of you, Mag Daruna. It's you did good. You really made something of yourself, Mag."
Just pleased they're here to help to neutralize this threat.
Yeah. Well, it feels like it was just yesterday that you were screaming about one thing or another out there in the swamp, and, we were all laughing. But now, when you say that we're in danger, I'll be damned if people aren't paying attention to you. So you showed them, didn't you?
I suppose you're right, Mag says. But her inner monologue about this is not nearly so humble.
So there's a commotion suddenly, and you see that there are members of the Star Watch coming in through a door leading into a back room. You take a moment to look at this mural on the eastern side of the room, again showing Eridan, the deceased god of humanity, lifting the Isle of Kortos, this miraculous act that is part of his divinity. And you see that there's a symbol, the Eye of Eridan, which is an eye with wings attached to it. And it's emblazoned on this mural over the island. That same symbol, the Eye of Eridan, is on the teal uniforms worn by all 6 of the members of the Star Watch that enter the room. There's a very different sense of these Star Watch squad members than you've seen in anyone around here. These are law enforcement officials who come from a big city. They give off an air of being very well trained. They seem very well composed. You make notice of one of them who seems to be the captain of the squad. She stands in front of 2 people that you can identify as lieutenants, one of whom seems to be a spellcaster of some sort, and another one who seems to be maybe more of a bruiser. And you see standing behind them 2 grunts, like lower level members of the Star Watch, who are standing attentively, keeping their mouths shut and sort of watching, hands behind their backs in almost like a military sort of precision. And the last member of this squad seems to maybe not be an officer of Star Watch. She's a Gripply woman. Gripply are frog humanoids. They're like sleek green frog people with like very agile bodies. She has more of a timid look. She seems to be a medic of some sort, judging by the lack of weaponry and the fact that she has a leather bag at her side that you can recognize as a doctor's pouch. She's wearing glasses perched on her frog nose, and she is looking alertly around the room, not talking with any of the rest of the Star Watch. One of the 6 representatives from Star Watch walks to a small stage in front of the mural and holds her arms up to quiet down the last of the few straggling talkers who haven't quieted down as the Star Watch entered the room. This woman, the captain, is a tall, serious-looking, muscular woman with close-cropped, dark hair and tan skin. She starts to talk. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may introduce myself, my name is Captain Margot Jensen of the Absalom City Star Watch. We have received a complaint about an incident occurring at a location on the outskirts of this town. Myself and the rest of my squad will be heading to that location early in the morning tomorrow to investigate. The report that we are currently responding to includes a description of a resident of the premises that is currently the threat to Absalom and surrounding areas. Sorry. She looks at her notes. A former resident, magic user, roughly 500 years deceased, female, has returned to the residence, the lighthouse at Gauntlet, and is presenting a safety risk to Absalom. We will be speaking this evening to the local population gathered here at this time in order to gain new information that may aid us in the apprehension or elimination of the risen magic user who is currently threatening the safety of Absalom's residence and property. Please remain in the premises here so that you may speak with my team to assist us in the timely resolution of this scenario. And to start off, does anybody here know anyone by the name of, and she squints again at this paper that she's holding, Magdaruna Lacewing Skullcrusher? I would like to start my interview with her now.
Mag steps forward wordlessly, but in a way that indicates that she is the person who's been requested. Maybe there's a little bit of space somewhere in the crowd a couple of feet ahead of her. So she steps forward, requires shouldering through a couple of people, but she's so tall and broad that there's no way to mistake that she's present.
And she locks eyes with you, gives you a respectful nod, and sits down with you.
Can I ask Lars
Yeah, please.
before you go any further with this like one-on-one piece? I guess 2 questions. Is the Star Watch, what is the best Our World analog for the Star Watch? Is it like the police department of a large city, like the New York City PD, or is it like the FBI or the U.S. Marshals or the Marines or the Men in Black? Like, who are we? Navy SEALs? Like, who are we?
United States Postal Service inspectors.
Right. CSI Miami. Like,
Yeah,
who
I
are
think
we
it's a great
dealing with here?
I think different people
Caruso.
have different answers to that question. My feeling is that this is essentially the FBI. That Absalom is a city-state. It's one of the more powerful political entities in the world. Aside from the fact that they're constantly being invaded and needing to like there's nonstop apocalypses happening in Absalom.
Potato.
Yeah. But yeah, the Star Watch oversees, like, Absalom is a big enough city with strong enough neighborhood identities that each neighborhood nearly has its own autonomous police force. And then the Star Watch is responsible for overseeing conflicts between those individual forces. So they're a relatively politically autonomous group that Acelia of Gear, the head of Star Watch, is like a close confidant with Winslow Starborn, who is the head of state of Absalom. So it's like a cross between the FBI and the Secret Service almost.
Okay, that's helpful. I guess the second question, and I don't know if this is flavor or mechanics. What is Mag's sense of how on the ball this person is?
I think that she seems to be pretty on the ball. As you're
Okay.
sizing up Captain Margot Jensen, you get the sense that she's maybe a slightly more accomplished fighter than you are. Like, you can see the way that she carries her body, that she is somebody who has seen lots and lots of combat. I think maybe a detail that you get from the way that she's presenting this group, though, is that this is a squad that does a lot of this stuff a lot of the time.
Sure. This is the most important moment of Mag's life, but not the most important moment of theirs.
Yeah, I think that
Okay.
that's reasonable.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. So we're going to break into some individual one-on-one interview segments, y'all. Let's sit in with
Fun.
Oh la la.
with Margot Jensen and Mag.
I like the name Margot.
I really want to chant Margot Jensen. Every time you say it, I want to be like, Margot Jensen.
Clap, 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 clap.
Yeah.
It's a really, there's something about the name that is just very pleasing.
It's
It's like, because it fits in a rhythm scheme. I'm not exactly sure which one it is. I don't think it's iambic
It's
pentameter.
trochaic.
It's trochaic. Is it trochee?
Stress, unstress, stress,
Right?
unstress.
Yeah.
Margot Jensen.
Yeah, she's trocheed to the gills over here, is what she's dealing with.
Oh,
So-
well,
so
that
Megan-
was the answer to my last question also. How-
So
To what
what's the
degree does she or
grammatical
does she not have her shit together? Well, she is trocheed to the gills.
Yeah, she's trocheed from the tip of her boots to the top of her helmet, or
I
whatever.
get it.
So Captain Jensen looks very composed as she sits down with Mag. Now that she's not addressing the room, you get the sense that she's somewhat soft-spoken. You see that she has soulful eyes that seem like dedicated to the job of law enforcement and helping people, and she's very complimentary of you when she first starts speaking with you. And she says, "I have to say, I'm very pleased that you called for help. We see situations like this one all the time. And there's always a group of adventurers of some sort or another. Sometimes the situation can be really bad. They're people on the margins of society, I don't want to say it, but reprobates who think that they can take care of the situation themselves, or even worse, thinking that they can get rich. So by the time we come in to deal with a problem, we have to deal with the problem and we have to deal with them at the same time. Glory seekers, that sort of thing. It's a sickness around here, a belief that doing something dumb can make you a hero. We see it all the time. So that's all to say, thank you. We've done a little bit of research. We've asked around town, and everything seems to be in order. We just have a couple of questions for you. Around town, I've picked up the sense that you haven't always been as celebrated as you are now. There's been a suggestion that you're paranoid or you overreact when nothing is there. Do you have a response to these sorts of suggestions?
You're welcome to go to Gauntlet. Assess for yourself whether I've reacted or overreacted, or perhaps even underreacted.
I'm sorry. I can be a little bit forward sometime. I'm not trying to suggest that there's nothing involving the situation right now. I've seen the maps. The question that I'm asking is really more about, do you think that the way that people have responded to you earlier in your life was reasonable?
No.
Okay. It says here that you were once a member of the town guard here in, and she checks her notes, here in Otari. What led you to leave that position?
It's like the world's worst exit interview.
Yeah. Yeah, right. I saw myself in 5 years doing something else. While serving in the guard, I sought to warn my commanding officer of a potential threat taking shape in the wilderness beyond the reaches of the town. We were unable to come to an understanding. Another member of the garrison was killed. I could no longer continue to serve in a group sworn to protect the town that failed to investigate sufficiently the death of one of its own. So I went my own way, and they theirs.
Hopefully we can stop something like that from happening again. And I'm glad you found your way back into helping the town after what happened.
I never stopped.
And after some more extended conversation about the things that you've seen in the dungeon, the different sort of getting a sense of the lay of the land here.
And I imagine Mag has been preparing mentally and also has prepared notes to hand off to, since they arrived in town. She's got, she's drawn maps of what they've seen. They're annotated. They're she's been like hitting the books in order to give like a, sort of like idiot-proof briefing packet to these people. So she's pulling like an additional folded up maps out of the bag of holding, like, and here's level 5. If anything, maybe it's a little bit too 101 level for someone who's like a very experienced investigator, but Mag is leaving nothing to chance. Really overkill,
Yeah. She takes this package of notes from you. She's like, oh, and weighed it down by a little bit. She's like, oh, well, can't say you haven't been thorough, can we? And she smiles at you and she says, thank you for your time, Mag. This has been lovely.
Mag nods.
And we're going to pick up with Trill, who is sitting down with Bevrin Drolfo. This is the Starwatch Squad spellcaster who is a half-orc woman. She's very fit with a long dark braid tied up behind her officer's cap. She's wiry, with a sort of sadistic sneer washing across her face from time to time. When she speaks, she whispers like she's got a secret that she's keeping to herself.
I imagine because she's also an orc, or half orc, and Trill is a gnome, that Trill's constantly trying to like get taller essentially as they're both sitting there to try and hear what she's saying, because she's just like multiple heads above Trill
Yeah.
as they're sitting there.
So she moves you to like a sitting area with at one of these booths on the far side of the room, so that the two of you can speak a little more easily. And as she's able to lean down to talk to you, she says, "And you are Trilphus Huddlelob, is that correct?"
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you for your cooperation with this investigation. Any assistance you're able to provide to myself and the rest of my squad mates will help us clear this little problem up right away. Now, Trill, it says here that in addition to helping this group explore the premises to the north, that you're also a musician. Is that right?
I am a bard, so I make my coin through music and performance. It's how I've traveled all the way from Brusselwark, my home.
I can see a little bit of that in the dossier I've been given. But why music? Like, why music?
Why music? Well, why not music? Music's just fabulous, you know. All you need is a voice or maybe an instrument with you, and all of a sudden you can just create something in the middle of anything, you know. You do paint. If you're a painter, you've got to have a studio to paint in. If you're a carver, you've got to have wood around you, and you've always got to have something new. But with music, I mean, I can just, without even thinking, as she's saying this, she's plucking along on her lute. Without even thinking, I just can always create something new. And she's like totally just vibing with the moment and like playing kind of random chords on her lute, just enjoying this.
And it's completely lost on her. She says, You'll just have to forgive me. I just don't exactly see what the point of this is when the world is what it is. But I guess it takes all kinds.
I guess it's a gnome thing. You know, always got to find something new.
Have you ever engaged in any drug use, Trilphus?
Trill stops playing very quickly. You're a cop, right?
You know what? Never mind. And
That's
she looks
like
at you.
100% how that happens too, right? Don't they like hit you with those gotcha questions? Like they send you down another and then they change to try to catch you off guard so you can't. That's terrifying, Lars.
So the conversation settles into a bit of a rhythm. And after some more talking about the situation in the dungeon, she's like, "No further questions. Thank you for your time. I'll let you get back to your music."
Okay, you know, I'll just keep playing here. You want to listen to it? I'm over here.
Okay, I'll be sure to keep an ear out.
And as soon as she turns away, Trill takes a big swig of her drink.
Ao is waiting around for somebody to interview her and actually winds up chatting with Birdie Graham, the medic assigned to the Starwatch squad. Birdie looks a little tense. She is a Gripply woman, as I mentioned before. There are not a lot of Gripplies around this part of the world. She has pale green skin and, she's looking through her spectacles around the room, and she just sort of sidles up next to Ao and she says, "This whole situation is pretty intense, isn't it?"
I actually think maybe she says that, but she's over in the sort of southeast corner of this room because Ao has suddenly appeared right next to her, having flipped off her Elvenkind hood. She says,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, intense as can be. I mean, it's hard to start a business."
"Oh, you're a business owner."
I think of myself as more of an enabler. I kind of incubate the ideas. I help greenhouse them. I'm not really the legwork, but I dabble in medicine. I see you got a kit there.
Yeah. I know my way around a medicine kit. I don't know my way around a business, though. That's fascinating. That's amazing. Good for you. You're young to run a business, aren't you?
And Ao looks at her and she goes, Yeah. Not too young, but young. I mean, a
No,
real
I'm
up
so-
and
no.
comer. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything by it. I really didn't mean anything by it. Well, nice to meet you. I'm Birdie. I do medicine for these guys, which you know, of course. What's your name?
I'm Ao. Ao says, for once not thinking to make herself someone else. What kind of gauze you got in there?
Oh, you wanna talk medicine? Let's do it. Nice. Always a pleasure to meet a fellow medic.
Yeah, I'm self-trained. I don't like to brag, but
Oh. Okay.
just it came to me
No, no,
me naturally, just like entrepreneurship.
That
You know,
got me really hard.
if you
AO pitching people is just so much.
and she's like, well, I guess if you're able to teach yourself to do one of them, you're probably able to teach yourself to do the other. You know, this job can be hard sometimes, but you meet people that you meet interesting people all the time. It's it makes it all worth it. So what's your story? Are you from around here?
No, I've been in town for a little while. I met that lot over there. She says, waving over at Isthan and Mag and Trill, each in their own conversations.
Yeah.
You know, they need someone to look after them, keep them healed, collect the teeth, keep them in this little pouch. You know, that kind of stuff.
Oh, you're into teeth.
I don't know if I'd say, and Ao gets like suddenly her eyes like lock in. I don't know if I'd say into so much as like they're the cosmic driving force of everything and they outlast all of us and they tell our stories, and without them, you just don't ever really know what a life meant. And so by keeping them, I'm helping understand what all of it means so that maybe we can harness the power of the lighthouse for our own usage.
Oh, what? You want to harness the power of the lighthouse? Okay.
Sorry, you said you had gauze in there? Are you like a 2-ply wrapper or... Ao
Yeah.
says then realizing she's gone too far and trying to pivot back to...
And she's stuck on teeth. She's like, okay, sure, lighthouse, but teeth. You know, it's interesting you say that because I don't have any teeth. And she's a frog. She doesn't have teeth. She opens her mouth and you see that like there's a hard gum ridge, but no teeth in her mouth.
Do you mind? And Ao reaches in a back pocket and pulls out a rubber glove. Can I just... Nothing? Can I just...
Yeah, no,
Can I
knock
just-
yourself out, of course.
And Ao sort of like probes her and she's like, you're right.
Well, and it's led to an interest in teeth on my part, just because I think they're so fascinating. Because, you know, it's something that nearly everybody you run into has. As a medic, you want to be able to take care of people, so it's become an interest. It's become a special interest of mine.
Yeah, me too. But that's because I've had teeth and I lost one tooth a while. Well, anyways, that's a different story. So, what if he's gonna survive?
Probably not a lot, but you know, we've got time here.
Eos is asking the weirdest question you could possibly ask someone you've known for about 45 seconds.
It's a pretty weird
And-
question.
She's like, but she's like fascinated by you. She's interested in sort of getting into what's like what the deal is, and as this conversation is happening, she's checking out, like she's looking through your medical kit, looking at the gauze, and she says, "I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is it all right if I show you something?"
Yeah, please.
And she shows Ao a special medical technique that she can use to quickly get her friends back in action, granting Ao access to the Paragon Battle Medicine feat, as she shows Ao, like, you know, you can be in really tough situations, like things look like they're not going to go your way, but if with a little creativity, a little ingenuity, I can show you exactly what you have to do. And she starts showing Ao exactly how to use the equipment in her medical kit to relieve a number of conditions.
I
that
have
could
been
be
using way too much gauze. I had no idea. I had
Hey, it
no
happens.
idea.
It happens to all of
Point
us.
of order. Ao gets like the person interviewing her who totally gets into all the same stuff, and Trill gets the narco.
Well, it's interesting you say that because it's right around this point that Birdie gets a tap on her shoulder, and it's Lieutenant Colton Marabi. He is a big, tough-looking guy, middle-aged with blonde hair, plate armor, and big, bulking muscles. He says, "Okay, Birdie, that's enough." And he shushes Birdie away, like this, like flapping his
Aw.
hands at her. And Birdie's like, "Okay." I know when I'm not needed. And she grabs her stuff and leads away.
I'll see you around. I'll see you around.
Yeah,
Ao
she-
says.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Aw.
And Colton Marabi starts talking to Ao. He's a bit of a loudmouth. He's the kind of guy that speaks louder than he has to. He seems
Like he spits a little maybe when he talks.
a little bit, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like he's not modulating his voice. It's all up here. It's all this. So, and he seems oblivious that anyone's paying attention to him.
Totally a Colton.
Um,
Sorry to any Coltons who are listening.
Shout
sorry,
out Colton's.
Some of you
and
are probably
he-
misnamed. It's okay.
Potential future sponsor, all the people named Colton who are listening.
He has a bit of a conversation with you about what you've seen in the dungeon, and he quickly interrupts it by slamming a drawing onto the table, and it's a picture of Norman. And he says, "Do you know this man?"
I've seen him around. Ao's
Well-
gotten more and more cagey and withdrawn as Colton has
Yes.
spit in her face one too many times.
Absolutely. And he's not listening to anything you say. He's
No.
asking you the questions. He's like, okay, and moving on. He says, I'm just wondering because I've collected information that says that this man aggressively injured people all around town, created situations where people were in need of immediate medical care, and no charges were ever pressed because these people always received the care they needed from you. It's a little suspicious.
Colton's kind of on the ball.
And Ao narrows her eyes at him and she says, "So you're saying you have a problem with the fact that I am addicted to giving?"
I don't have a problem with you giving. I'm just saying I've got my eyes on you. And he does the finger thing from Meet the Parents at your face.
Are they standing at some kind of table? I like to imagine that she's very, very slowly under the table casting the lightest of foxfires to make his feet hot. So he kind of gets
Yeah.
like a little dancy, and he's like not quite sure why his shoes are so warm.
He's like, oh, I need to cool off. I need to get out of here. And he steps away and he's like, he knows something happened. He doesn't know exactly what happens, but he like
Can she
snaps his head at you.
try a
Yeah.
thievery check to see if she can pickpocket him on his way out?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that one.
Let's do something
yeah,
risky and
give me a
unnecessary, right?
thievery check. Yeah, sure.
That's what AO's here for.
Blind
It's
or
not
not
blind?
necessary.
Thievery. Let's see. What are the rules for thievery? Who's to say?
I haven't stolen enough recently.
What's the DC for stealing from cops?
So we want to get a thievery check versus his perception DC.
That's not great. It's a 21. I'm feeling like I want to hero point this.
Okay.
That's better. Let's go with a 33.
Okay, that actually succeeds. Yes. So what are you trying to steal from him? Like what sort of object do you think you're looking for?
I think like ideally a sort of a wallet, something she knows he's gonna miss, but that
A
he'd have no
watch?
way to be able to say she.
Do they carry
watch.
badges?
Actually, no, she hates watches. She's not a Clockwork fan.
What you managed to steal from him is like a bag of caltrops. These are, spiky stars that you throw on the ground to stop people from being able to move through a space.
Okay.
And so you've got a jingling, jangling bag of caltrops, the kind of thing that maybe would not bother somebody who's wearing shoes, but would be very troubling to Ao as a non-shoe wearer,
All right, I like
were
that.
she to run into them. And you notice over the rest of the night, every once in a while, you see him like slyly like turning his head to look under the table, not trying to show like he knows that he wants anybody to know that he's misplaced his caltrops, but he's like, you see him in the corner of the room, sort of like pushing a chair over to sort of look around. He looks anxious and nervous and doesn't want to tell anybody why. We're going to pick up now from an interview between the two grunts of the Star Watch squad, Samandra Vix and Torpor Wedge. They are speaking with Isthan. So these are lower level members of the Star Watch, and they appear to be nearly entirely reading from a script. They're taking notes to everything that Isthan says. Their personalities seem to be more folded under due to the demands of the hierarchy that they find themselves in. They both have short cropped hair and are wearing Starwatch uniforms, teal cloth with armor showing the Eye of Eridan, the city symbol of Absalom. And they're both talking to Isthin, and they say, so it says here in our notes that you're something of an adventurer. What is it that draws you to the adventurer lifestyle?
Oh, I've just always wanted to be an adventurer, you know. Although there was a brief period when I actually sent in an application to join the Starwatch. Well, actually, at first I applied to join the Learned Guard. I'm from the Wise Quarter, you know. My mum works at the Foray Logos, so I wanted to join the Foray, the Learned Guard, and really make a difference. But then I saw you guys in the Starwatch, and there was the Radiant Festival. Ooh, by the way, can you talk at all about what happened at Hunting Lodge 7? Because I've got this scene in my head, you know, and I can just hear the music kicking in, and it's like, do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do.
As Isthin is... As
you
Isthin, thank you for that thorough
Was
answer.
it like that?
So like as Isthin starts to answer, they're first writing all these notes down on parchment, and at a certain point they kind of give up and just put the pencil down on the table and let Isthin finish. And they're like, dude, I was not present at the Hunting Lodge 7 incident. I'm not aware of anything regarding that music, but it's always nice to hear that somebody is a fan of what it is that we do for the city.
Yeah. At the Lucky Nimbus Casino, right? Did you wear tuxedos? Because in my head, you have to be wearing tuxedos.
We were not involved with the Lucky Nimbus Casino assignment. We're both relatively new to the Force, to be honest. Could you please tell me quickly about your greatest success as an adventurer?
Oh, my greatest success. Well, the Demon Dog Whisperer of Isger was quite a case. There were all these purloined pooches in Isger, and so we had to figure out who was charming them, right? And so it started with this one particular pooch, a poodle named Petunia. And so we were searching out for Petunia all over Isger, you know, here, Petunia, here. And I have to say, you know, taking him down, it was a tough fight. I mean, way tougher than you'd think, right? But it turned out he was a poodle summoner, and so he could summon poodles to him, which is a very peculiar power. Oh, I should include that in the title, the peculiar poodle summoner of... No, it doesn't really rhyme with Isger, though, and I was trying to... Anyway, I'd say that made me feel really happy because the family, you know, is there any feeling better than you get when you see a kid just loving on his dog? And that made me feel good.
And you say that's a demon dog? Did you say dog?
Yeah, the Demon Dog Whisperer of Isger.
Whisperer, demon dog. We'll just write down.
He wasn't actually a demon. That's more editorializing me.
Okay. Moving on to our next question, could you please tell me quickly about any jobs or adventures that you've been involved with that haven't turned out so well?
Oh, and Isthin's face falls. You're asking about the Holomog case, huh?
Do you have anything you want to tell me about that particular situation?
And he like takes a pull of his beer, and there's like way less of it left than he wants there to be at this moment. Right. Yeah, I was in southern Garund and Holomog. A vampire was preying on travelers and traders near this campground, day or so south of the capital city, Anuli. It's a beautiful city if you've ever been there. The Tower of the 94, they have a close connection with Maslade and the Imperial Lords. Not Imperial, like, you know.
And what happened on this job?
There were supposed to be 5 of us, but there were only 4. Nothing was going right from the very beginning. The cleric's ship got delayed in a storm, and as we were heading south, we, had decided to go hunting anyway, try and make a go of it. And we got delayed by a river running high because the same storm lost a lot of equipment and worse, hours of daylight. So we arrived at the campgrounds in the late afternoon, and we didn't find its lair until, dusk.
The lair. What lair?
Or the vampire's lair.
Vampire's lair. Okay.
Please
keep going.
It had taken up there in the ruins nearby, and it started spouting off. Join me and live forever in blasphemous joy. All that old shite. You have to wonder if these idiots even get a script when they become undead. It's how to sound like a bloody fucking tough. Anyway, we fought it. It retreated to its coffin. And none of us had ever dealt with a vamp before, so I volunteered to try staking it. As I did, I heard this huge crash outside and a roar. I swear by his tankard, I thought it was a fucking dragon, It wasn't. It was an iguanodon. They've got dinos there in Ulamog. So anyway, I staked the vamp and ran out and started trying to help fight the dino. And that's when the vampire hit Brennan, our fighter.
I thought you said you staked the vampire.
I tried to, but evidently I hadn't done it right.
I see.
He was right in the middle of the coup de grace on the dino, and then all of a sudden there it was. You'd think, when a 6,000-pound beastie is being defeated, you'd remember it, right? I really don't. I do remember the look on his face.
What happened to Brennan?
Oh, it tore his throat out. Tariq, he moved first. He was the rogue, and he tried to stake it from behind while I was still busy with Brennan, but it batted him away like he was a fly. He hit a tree, and I heard something crack inside him. I don't know if he died then, but he didn't move after that.
You're saying Tariq also died?
Yep. And then it went for Jaya, our wizard. She didn't have time to react. I mean, she was so talented, she studied the Magambia. She had a future, was going to be someone. You could just tell when you met her. Anyway, it had her pinned down and bet on her, and that was when my freeze broke, and I ran.
I'm sorry, you ran?
Yep. As hard and for as far as I could. Doubled back through the river twice to conceal my scent. Didn't make a fire when I camped that night for the same reason. Didn't sleep much that night.
The two Star Watch officers give a look to each other, a sort of meaningful, meeting of the eyes. One of them sort of sighs and writes something down on the page as you finish telling the story of how Isthan lost his entire crew on this job. They look at you and they look kind of sad. And they're just like, no more. We don't have any more questions right now. Thank you.
Right. Thanks.
So it's getting late. And the scene at the Rowdy Rockfish is dying down. Most of the people from around town have cleared out. Osif Menhemez heads home at a certain point. Once all these interviews are dead, Captain Margot Jensen addresses the group with Mark and with Lardis Longsaddle. Thank you very much for your cooperation with these initial questions. We're deeply appreciative of the work that you've done to explore this situation with Belcora Haravex, and we are ready to join you on your continued exploration of this underground area. We will be meeting you promptly at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning at the location of your choice. It says here that you have cleared out 7 floors of this complex, so we will move together to the lighthouse in the morning and start working on the 8th floor together. And we've received word from Captain Longsaddle here that one of the town guard will be accompanying us. This is something that we do all the time. We're happy to share some of our knowledge with local law enforcement in these sorts of in-the-field scenarios. So, Mark, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. And
Imagine the whole bar is going, Mark, 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 Mark,
And
Mark, Mark.
Mark's like, stop it. It's fine. I'm very excited for the opportunity to learn as much as I can from the pros. And Margot Jensen turns back to the party. Your assistance during this process is much appreciated. This is invaluable work that you've done here, and you did the right thing in calling us for assistance. So she sort of gives you one last handshake, and she turns on the way out as she's heading to her lodgings for the night. All right, you 4 and Mark, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Where are we meeting up?
We like to start our days at the Crook's Nook.
They make some good snooks.
It's a
All right.
local place.
Crook's Nook, 9 a.m. Sounds good. Please don't be late. This is we want to get moving as early as we can. And you settle in for the night. And you wake up the next morning. It is Erastus the 7th. It's a wheel day. Winds are pushing the temperatures down throughout the day. It's clear with a high of 75. And you meet up in front of the Crook's Nook at the bridge at 9 a.m. And what happens?
I like to think that AO gets there, I don't know, at 8:45 in an effort to wage just the tiniest bit of psychological warfare on Colton. She has spread his stars around on the ground.
Okay. You've spread his caltrops around.
There we go. Yes, they're just all
Yeah.
over the ground.
And the people around the around town are starting to like dodge around it. Like a mother points at their child about to step on a thing. And she's like, "Watch where you're going, boy!" And he nearly steps on the caltrops, and it's nearly a big issue. And you meet up at 9, and you share some snooks, and nobody meets you. There's nobody here.
Oh.
It stretches on to about 9:15, and there's still nobody here.
That's weird. They seem like they're kind of tight asses. They'd probably really be on time. Something must have happened.
Anyone ask them where they were staying?
I don't
Kristen?
think anybody here knows where they're staying. No, I don't think that's information. That we have.
If Istin could be wearing sunglasses this morning, he would be. Like, he probably still reeks of whiskey.
I miss lay on
you-
hands for these mornings.
Could you just talk a little bit quieter? Just
After a few minutes of you standing around, Osif Menhemez comes by, and he's like, "Oh, what are all you doing here?
We were waiting.
What's going on?"
We're waiting for the Star Watch, but they seem to be late, which seems really out of character for a bunch of nice guys. Should we go check out maybe the garrison, see if something happened? Is that where they're
I'm sorry,
staying?
Did you say that you're waiting for the Star Watch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said 9 a.m. right here.
I heard from Captain Jensen that no further assistance was needed, that this was a law enforcement issue, and I'm actually surprised to see you here, still suited up and ready to go.
Would they have gone without us?
Yeah, no, they went. The Star Watch squad left with Mark about an hour ago. They should already be there at Gauntlet right now.
Oh, that can't be good.
And Trill just turns around and starts walking towards the edge of town.
Yeah, Mag, too. I think as soon as the Star Watch folks were even a minute late, Mag was sure they would not be there.
It takes a minute to pick up all of the, what do we call them? Caltraps?
Yeah.
Caltraps? Put them back in a bag and be like, he's going to get it, and follows after him.
So it sounds like the four of you are heading to the dungeon.
Unless the mayor would like to come along.
Mayor's like, gotta go. There's important town business. The people need me. And he rushes off. So you head to the dungeon, through the forest, through the swamp, down the 7 stairs to the prison level. The Devil Euravian opened a pathway for you that led to a mechanical lift. Do you think you want to head in that direction?
It's like something someone who was trying to trap us would say. But yeah.
Sure.
So you head to that circular chamber where you fought a million monsters. And then to the north, you see that the magical energy that guarded that lift has faded, as you saw when you were here a week ago. But you also see that the lift is gone. It's no longer on this floor. There is a lever, though, that looks as though it can call the lift.
Hey guys, did we give them a whole map of the dungeons?
Yeah. I made sure to provide detailed orienting materials as soon as I heard that they would be here. It seemed insensible to waste time on basic wayfinding.
And to make sure that they needed us. Cool.
I just told him to get drill cakes over at the pub one floor up. You know, business is business.
Their judgment was to come and reconnoiter without assistance. I trust their judgment.
So you find yourselves looking into this empty elevator shaft.
Trill just shakes her head back and forth, having... I don't know if it's come across very much yet, because Trill has not had tons of interaction, but I think it's becoming quite clear that Trill is a little more anti-establishment than I think was previously revealed. So she has very little faith in this group after her short conversation last night, and just walks over and pulls that lever to try and pull the elevator back up.
So
Best she can with her height.
The stored kinetic energy of this apparatus starts spooling this chain up, and you hear and this elevator takes several minutes to arrive. It sounds like it's going to break itself apart as it comes up, but finally it stops on the level in front of you, and you can pull the rickety door open. And on the elevator itself, you can see that there is a system of 4 different levers that you can use to ride downwards. If you'd like to try to figure out how to use this, please roll a d4. That's the number of hours that it takes you to make this thing work.
Okay, Trill's gonna roll a d4.
Yeah.
Should it be blind?
Too.
Nope, doesn't matter. Just 1 d4.
Will astrology lore help here at all?
The first check I got was from Mags. That's what I'm going to take. So this is going to be 4 hours.
Oh wait, no! Why didn't you take mine? Darn
Because
it!
Mags
I
came
had the
through
one.
first, and I just asked for 1. So it
is
takes
the-
you 4 hours
The only time a
to
1 is good.
get this thing moving. Can I have a flat check, please?
I bet Trill's like, why is this one all sticky and greasy? What did they do to this elevator?
Okay, what did you get on that flat check, David?
11.
Okay, that's a success. Just barely. So what that means is that it is around, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you sit for a few minutes as this thing slowly starts working its way down the elevator shaft. And after 20 feet or so, the rock surrounding the elevator goes away, and you're able to see through like a metalwork track. And you can look down at the area around you. And you're way up high above a large lake, about 80 feet up in the air, looking down into a massive lake, like a natural cavern with some docks built into it. You see that around these docks there are submerged cages, but the area stretches out for a very, very long way. It's unlike anything you've seen down here. It's like you're outside of Belcora's structure. The elevator leads from inside to outside into a natural cavern. And as the elevator continues down, ka-chunk, 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 you can see that it looks like a fight happened here. There are a number of bodies down on the ground on those docks that you can see. Strange, pale, shrunken bodies, almost gnome-like as the elevator continues down. You get closer and you can see that these bodies are twisted and distorted like they're undead. And as the elevator reaches the bottom of the track, near these small undead bodies, you see that there's something floating in the water. And then ka-chunk, 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 the elevator stops, and you see that it's a body. As you get closer still, you can see that there's a red pool of water around the body. Eventually, if you were to creep closer to this, you see the teal fabric of a Star Watch uniform on this body. It's Samandra Vix, one of the grunts from the Star Watch. And she's dead. And we'll pick up from there next time.
If I'd rolled a 1 or a 2, would she still be alive?
You can't ask yourself questions like that, babe. Not good.
Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy, using trademarks and copyrights owned by Paizo that are covered under that policy. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way, and we are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. All original characters and content in the Roots of Ruin are the property of Tabletop Gold, and all rights are reserved. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. On our website, tabletopgold.com, you can learn more about us and our shows, pick up great merch, and connect to the best online community in all of podcasting. Thanks for listening.